Hey, it's Greg with Evolution Mental Health Services. Today we're going to continue talking about drugs and alcohol and addiction. So what I want to talk about today is the question, what causes addiction? There's a lot of different theories as to why people get addicted to things, okay? So for example, some people say it's genetics, the idea that, my dad was an alcoholic, his dad was an alcoholic, that's why I'm an alcoholic. Another thing you might hear is environmental. I grew up around it. Everybody in my neighborhood was doing crack, so I started doing crack. That's how I got addicted. It was an environmental thing. So that's an option. Another thing you might hear is it's a cultural thing. I remember I was working with a guy one time who had stopped drinking alcohol, and the Super Bowl was coming up, and I remember he told me it's un-American to not drink beer during the Super Bowl. So it could be a cultural thing. Sometimes you might hear somebody say it's covering up another issue. Maybe somebody who struggles with depression, and they're using drugs or alcohol to help cope with their depression. Or maybe it's someone who's gone through a lot of trauma in their past, and so they're using drugs or alcohol to deal with the after effects of that trauma. That's an option. The reality is all of those things could contribute to someone developing a drug or alcohol problem. Personality is one you hear people talk about. You'll hear somebody say, I have an addictive personality, or say, I don't have an addictive personality. And yeah, some people are just more go hard or go home. If one's good, two's better kind of approach to life. That could be a factor. So we don't want to sit here and say that just one thing leads someone to addiction. Any of those things could start someone down the path to addiction, okay? But no matter what started it, if you go back to what we talked about last time, tolerance and withdrawal, eventually we all can get there no matter how we got started down the path. And once we're there, we got to do something about it. So whether it's a genetic thing, whether it's an environmental thing, whether it's a mental health thing, whatever it is, eventually it gets out of hand and we got to do something about it. And then once we're to that point, we got to address all those things, starting with just getting through the withdrawals, like we talked about before, and then going from there. But so all these different ideas of where addiction comes from, there's no point in arguing about it. The fact is, any of them could be what started it. Whatever it is, we got to do something about it. I hope that helps. That's it for today. Evolve, be who you want to be.